Oh, Gary Washburn. What's up? You in the bubble?
What's going on, man?
Washburn from the
What's
bubble.
up, fellas?
What's going on, man?
I'm all right, man. 10 weeks in, so got about a month left. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see if I make it.
Did you have to break up a fight last night?
No, I had to break up a fight. I heard, things. I heard a lot of commotion, and I've seen enough arguments to know that when it's one person jumping on a lot of people or a lot of people going at a lot of people, and last night there was a lot of people going at a lot of other people. So the whole Marcus Smart was going at everybody. Not true. It was a lot of yelling in that room. It was a long argument, a long sports argument. We've all been outside of locker rooms and heard some commotions, but this was about 20 minutes, and it was heated.
Team is imploding, Gary Washburn. That's what you said last night. Now, since your tweet, I believe they had a meeting among leadership. You still, based on your reporting, based on your knowledge of this team. Oh, I'm sorry. You still feel that way, that they're imploding?
I feel like last night, the fourth quarter, they kind of gave in. They let go of the rope again, and then frustrations boiled over. So they're frustrated. They're a frustrated team. They don't know how to beat this team, the Miami Heat. They don't know how to close out games. They let Jimmy Butler become Jimmy Buckets and Jimmy Superstar in the last 5 minutes of games, 3 steals in the last 5 minutes. They still don't know. It seems that Goran Dragic is left-handed, so he goes left. So it would be of your best interest. It would behoove of them to shade to the left, to his left, so he can maybe go right instead of letting him go left every time. It's just things that they won 3 of the 4 quarters last night. They lost the third quarter by 20. That was the difference. They are outplaying Miami for most of the game, but when it counts, they're getting beat down.
Gary, one of the brothers from another thinks that the series is over, began the show that way. I think that brother said, nah, it's a wrap, if I'm quoting correctly. And then another brother, probably, slightly older, slightly more intelligent, says that, listen, it's zip 2. It's zip 2. We've seen teams come back from zip 2 deficits. What say you? What's going on with the series? We've got 5 games left potentially. What do you think?
I don't think it's just dead and gone over, but it doesn't look good for the Celtics. And they got to figure out something over the next 24, 30 hours or whatever to figure out how to beat this team and to play together and to play hard for 48 minutes. I think one game will help turn the tide, the momentum. Because, guys, they get 3 days off after game 3. They don't play till Wednesday. That's 3 days to practice, take a deep breath, feel good about yourself, feel good about what you did in the previous game. And remember, guys, Toronto was about to go down 0-3, hit a game-winning shot, and suddenly turned it into a real competitive series that went 7 games. OKC was down 0-2, won the next 2, turned into a 7-game series. So there's hope, but it ain't a lot of hope.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Just even this conversation and just the general conversation around this series, I like to kind of reframe it if I could, G, because it's like, you go back to the last series. What was the story? Talking about the Heat Bucks. Sorry. That story was the Bucks losing, not the Heat winning. It was Giannis and Mike Budenholzer. It was them falling short. This series right now, it would say Celtics trailing Heat 0-2 versus Heat winning the series 2-0. And I guess I just like to try to focus on Miami and focus on what Miami is doing as opposed to what the Celtics are not doing. So what are you seeing from this Heat team that's only lost once in this postseason? And it's clicking on all cylinders. It can't just be other teams not handling their business. What are the Heat particularly good at that's flummoxing the teams like the Celtics and before them the Bucks and before them the Pacers?
They're playing a very connected way. I mean, they just all seem on the same page. And we all have covered sports for a long time, and you can see teams that just, one, they really like each other. Okay, everyone has a role. There's no bickering about minutes. And 2, they're connected. They're connected defensively. They all trust each other. They trust from Tyler Hero, the rookie, to Duncan Robinson, the guy undrafted who played Division III, then transferred to Michigan, to Jimmy Buckets, obviously, to Bam Adebayo, who's emerging as a superstar. Like, they all have this trust for each other. And remember, guys, they added Andre Iguodala and Jay Crowder mid-season. Those are two tough guys. Those are two guys that are culture guys, that they don't play that stuff with not giving 100%. So you give Jimmy two more guys, including the guy he played with at Marquette. And Jimmy and Jay had their differences in the past in the NBA or whatever. They cool now. And that's a bad thing for the rest of the league, that they done come together and brought their superpowers together. So you bring that with Iguodala and some great shooting in terms of Robinson and Hero, then also Goran Dragic, the wily 34-year-old point guard who's not always been healthy, but when he's played well, but you don't really know about him. Common basketball fans probably wouldn't know who he was, but he's just so effective. So they're all playing on one string. They're all playing together. Spoelstra, obviously, one of the better coaches, one of the top 5 coaches in the league. So, yeah, you need to talk about Miami. Now, could they beat the Lakers in the next round, or potentially, I think they could beat the Nuggets, but the Lakers, we don't know about that. But in this series, they've been the better team.
Thanks for that alley-oop, Gary, because I want to talk about the Lakers next. Before you came on, I told Michael Smith, look, LeBron James giving you 10 assists a game and 25 points alongside Anthony Davis. I just don't see it. I don't see the Nuggets taking it from the Lakers. How about you? You think this could be a real series?
I think they can win 1 or 2 games. I think game 1 is, with any series, is critical for the team that's the underdog. The Lakers have had a long layoff. The Nuggets coming off that great comeback against the Clippers. Maybe they can catch them sleeping. Remember, Lakers lost game 1 to Houston and lost game 1 to Portland. So Denver making a statement, playing hard, not giving up, not letting go of the rope, not getting discouraged like they didn't get, obviously, against the Clippers when they fell behind 18, 20 points. If they fall behind early, just keep playing through the game, take it to the second half, and then rely on your superstars. Rely on Murray, rely on Jokic, even guys like Paul Millsap and Gary Harris. I mean, rely on what got you there, but just hang close. I think LeBron and those guys are going to want to make a statement. And remember, guys, we're talking about LeBron now. They got kind of skunked for the MVP. I thought it would be a much closer vote. I voted for LeBron. And
did you?
Yes, I did. LeBron.
Expound on that.
I just thought what he did for the Lakers, leading the league in assists. I like Giannis. I like Giannis a lot, and Giannis put up the big numbers. I just thought what LeBron did for that team at age 35, he deserved my MVP vote. I mean, I just thought bringing them back after having a terrible first year in LA, just what he was able to do all around, incorporating his teammates, bringing guys like Avery Bradley in, Rajon Rondo, Jared Dudley, guys who have been either cast-offs or guys who have been to a bunch of other teams, and bringing them together and having that cohesive unit and having the best record in the West. I thought he deserved it.
So I'm sorry, I got you off track. I think you're about to say that he could have a little bit more fuel to his fire because it was like,
exactly.
85, 16 first place
motivated
votes?
LeBron. Yeah, we're motivated LeBron now, who saw, Giannis get the award, in his house, in his living room, and LeBron's still here in the bubble. So he's going to be motivated to prove that he is still the best player in the league. I think we all have seen that. And after what happened with the Clippers, I don't know if we can have the Kawhi argument right now. So if Denver can withstand that and try to hang in there and maybe steal one of the first 2 games, I believe they can make it a series. If not, I got Lakers in 5.
I love to
Lakers
focus
in
real
5,
quick,
huh?
Michael Holley. I like to focus real quick, though, on the matchup in the middle. Well, actually, I don't even know if you could call it the middle because it's so versatile. They're on the perimeter just as much. But, like, Jokic versus Davis is I think that's where the series gets decided, is which of those bigs performs better. We know what LeBron's going to bring. Jamal Murray is going to get his. But, honestly, talk about stars winning this series. I think it starts right there with those 2 guys. How do you see that matchup playing out, G?
I mean, it's funny because they're kind of, in a sense, alike because they both like to play away from the basket. I mean, Davis is obviously a better defensive player, but Jokic, he's so crafty. I'm very fascinated to see when he brings Davis away from the basket, what kind of moves he uses, how he tries to maybe get Davis in some foul trouble. Because Jokic has so many moves, left, right, He can shoot without jumping. All the craftiness that he has. I mean, he's like the oldest 25-year-old in the history of the NBA, and he's the guy who's going to be like all YMCA over 50 until he's about 75. So Jokic, I think, is just a crafty guy. I'm fascinated by that matchup. And will Davis want to bring him in the paint, or will Davis rely on the perimeter? Sometimes Davis gets accused of playing too much away from the basket. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. And also whether the Lakers play their two other big guys, Howard and JaVale McGee, and whether, like how Plumlee fits into that. I mean, how all that kind of matches up. And who guards LeBron? I'm kind of fascinated to see is it Millsap? That's a tough matchup for Millsap. But yeah, the Jokic-Davis matchup is fascinating.
All right, final question for you, Gary Washburn. What's your favorite thing about the bubble?
The basketball, just being able to walk from one game to another, being able to go from one playoff game, you walk down the hill and you're at the arena for another one. I mean, you're never going to see that again. There's a lot of other things that we could talk about maybe on another show about life here, but that is the best part, is the being able. It's like a basketball convention. You can just.
No, this is a show, man. This is a show. You talk about the other stuff. We talk about, hey, man, come on. We say this over and over. We rip the curtain down on Brother from Another. What you holding back on? Like what else?
All right. Well, okay. You guys saw the movie Life, right?
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So they got, I ain't gonna call it the gun line, but they got a line you can't cross in quarantine. And there's a loop that everybody jogs, runs around, and they got signs like you just like this. That's just funny to me. If you cross this line, the same air exists, but if you cross this line, you get put back into quarantine.
The same air.
The same air. Everything is a normal. And it's a street, and it's cars and all that. And if you just like Martin, if you run for that cherry pie, because you've been sitting on that cherry pie for 20 years, and you just want to see the street, nope. Quarantine.
I am so glad you invoked Life, because for my money, Eddie Murphy's best film.
Best movie, yeah. And,
love it.
And
thank you for that.
And you can ask anybody else down here about the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They're like cigarettes in prison. I mean, they used to be. Then they stopped making them. They started making them kind of bad, where like 90% peanut butter.
Wow, they using smooth or crunchy?
Smooth, but a lot of smooth, so it's thick. No. So you like chewing
it's gotta be
like
crunchy, dog. Gotta be crunchy.
You like chewing a lot. But those things, because the dinner hours are so limited, that if you literally are covering a game, you just grab 3 or 4. If you have some PB&Js in your room at midnight, you were just like, you were like doing that. You're partying. I mean, it's like that, because this is the snack emporium. Like, I have had so many barbecue. I try to stay away from that. We ain't getting no younger, but here, I mean, the only food they have available, if you miss breakfast, lunch, or dinner, are these snacks. So you're relegated to eating stuff that you haven't eaten in years. I have not had so many peanut butter and jelly sandwiches since I was 13 years old. I mean, it's insane. So yeah, there's a lot we could go into. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good. But the basketball has been amazing. Seeing everybody around, getting to know guys. Like I said, you walk this loop, you'll see NBA head coaches getting their walk-on, officials, assistant coaches, etc. So it's a real kind of, we're all in the same journey. So you got to give each other that head nod. And the testing, you do. I got these 2 things here: the temperature, and then your oxygen saturation. You do that every morning. And if you don't, they send you a text message about noon, like, hey man, you need to do that. And you can't get into any venue without doing that. So we get this band here, we don't take it off, which with the Mickey logo, I don't know if you can see it, the Mickey kind of logo on it, but we ain't getting to no rides. We can't have no fun with this. This gets us into any venue or arena. And if that thing turns blue, you got to go back to your room and do the testing again. So the NBA is not playing with this COVID. They don't mess around. Reporters, anybody, you have to test every day. You have to take your oxygen every day and put it in the app. So it is like a routine, and you just have to get used to it.
Really interesting. Gary Washburn, man, we appreciate you. Hey, man, keep out of those fights.
See you, bro.
Make sure, don't be hanging around Marcus Smart.
Sure. I'll
Get it go down.
make sure. I'm only a peaceful
Washburn.
man.
No
Good to
doubt.
see you, brother.